Hello everyone, welcome to a brand new series called Conversations with Exeter Medics. In this series, 8 of my medic friends from Exeter shared their experiences and their journeys into medical school. This series will involve 8 episodes where we will be covering different aspects of medical school and studying at Exeter. Thanks for tuning in, hope you enjoy it, and make sure to subscribe for the upcoming content. Is it too competitive?
Is it too competitive at Exeter?
Yeah.
I think I have a very close and small circle of friends, and my friends aren't at all. All of my friends are really supportive. Everyone wants to help each other. I do think it's quite hard to find the group start.
Takes time.
Obviously people come from lots of different backgrounds, so it was a little bit of a culture shock coming to Exeter, as there are people that are sort of quite a bit more privileged than me in terms of their background. But I really do think it depends who you're friends with. Everyone does find their friendship group. I'd say probably from like Christmas time onwards, things start falling into place. So I think it's really just about getting through the first term and knowing who your people are, I guess.
Favourite and least favourite aspect in Exeter Medical School?
My favourite is that we do get quite a lot of early clinical skills teaching. So I do sort of know people at other med schools, and I think the clinical skills that we've done at our stage is sort of quite more detailed and in-depth than at other med schools. And I think this is really good when you combine that with having our GP placements, because now when I go on my placements, I can apply some of the things that I've learned, and I can sort of understand the methodology of the GP. So I really like that, and I also really like the structure and the routine in terms of you know where you are, your timetable is very sort of predictable other than the exams getting added in. My least favourite part about Exeter for me is probably living in student accommodation. No, it's not any disrespect to my flatmates at all. My flatmates are all really nice. I just think because I obviously lived with my partner beforehand, going from living and working full time to then living in student accommodation are two very different settings. And I also really struggle because my room is my room and I have a bathroom and that's sort of it. And I don't like studying in the same place as I sleep. I really struggle with that. But I also really struggle doing revision in places that are quite busy or sort of noisy. So there are study spaces on campus that I like to use, like Giraffe House. I think you see me in there quite a lot.
How many hours a day do you study?
Oh, now it depends. So I do, if we don't have exams, or anything coming up, I try to have Saturdays off completely. It doesn't always happen. Sometimes I have Saturday and Sunday off. It sort of depends, but I'd say as a rule, I try to have a Saturday off. That's my day with my friends or with my partner, just for me, and to almost reset, get my life together.
A bit too competitive.
It is. There are people who are competitive. There are people who are really helpful and share their notes. Not share their notes, but like kind of help you out.
We don't share notes in med school, do we?
Yeah, a lot of people are very like secretive about what they're doing and how they're studying, and I think that if you find a few people who aren't like that, I mean, they're
great.
Genuine,
Great. Okay. Favorite and least favorite aspects in Exeter Medical School?
Least favorite aspect is probably the competitiveness. I'm not used to like how competitive it is. I think it's because they grade you based off everyone else's grades, so I think that's why everyone's kind of competitive about it. So that's probably the worst part. But the best part is how good the teaching is. Like, the lectures are really good.
So is it like, which specific aspect? Is it the placement? Is it the clinical skills? Is it the PBL? What's your favourite aspect in that?
We have this thing called LSRC, which occurs once a week. It's split into biomed and anatomy, and the lectures basically go over topics with you. Like, it's either 3 or 2 different topics per session, and it's kind of like workshop based, so you learn like ways to remember concepts, but also like you touch on concepts that you've already learned in a way that really helps you remember it. You use models, you use different mnemonics and techniques, so that's like, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, okay, great. How many hours a day do you study?
Ooh. A day, I would say 5 hours, I think.
Okay, that's great.
Weekends is probably a bit longer, but during the day, during the week, it's 5 hours. But like 5 hours of focused studying.
Is it too competitive?
I think there is an element of competitiveness, but I don't really take much notice to it.
Okay.
You have to just focus on your own end goal.
Exactly. Favorite and least favorite aspects in Exeter Medical School?
Favourite? I love our PBL sessions. I think they're the most worthwhile because you get to explore things, areas of study in your own time, and it's kind of led by you, so you can do as much or as little as you want, and then you feed back to your group. And the least favourite, probably essay writing.
That's you.
Yes, that's you.
Yeah, I agree.
I suppose that might improve as I get a better topic and things. So.
How many hours a day do you study?
Probably, it depends on what sessions I've got during the day, but probably about 2 or 3 hours maybe, something like that.
My favourite is, I really like doing like clinical skills and things like that. Like we went to do some practice yesterday, and we got to do ECGs on each other. And like for me, I really enjoy that aspect of medicine, like the practical aspect.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy the placements as well. Like I did my history taking at my GP yesterday.
Okay.
And like actually getting to talk to the patients, and the patients are generally so like nice and receptive when you say you're a medical student, and I really enjoy like talking to them and like actually be able to understand some of the things they say when they talk about their conditions, and like understanding why they've got their conditions. Least favourite aspect is I hate SSUs. Like
I agree.
Is my least favourite aspect. Like I completely understand why they make us do it.
Yeah.
And like when I've written the essay, like the final bit, and I look at it, I'm like, I'm so proud of this. But to get to that stage, like you have to put in, for me, I put in so much work and so many hours.
Yeah.
And it's just, it causes me so much stress every time I have to do an SSU. Because you're like, in the first one, it wasn't so bad, but in the second one, because you're a facilitator, it's like an expert in that area.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure that you've written it well enough that they will like, you know,
They won't catch
actually
you out.
that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't like SSUs at all.
How many hours a day do you study?
It really depends, I'm not gonna lie. At the moment, I'm awful for studying. It's because I've been prioritising like spending time with my friends. So I watch the lectures and I do go to like LSRCs. So if it was like a Tuesday, I'd say maybe like 5 hours, but on a Sunday, I'd say 0. But in exam season, I'm not gonna lie, I did sweat a lot. So I'd probably say that I was doing up to like 8-9 hours a day. SSU, I probably do about 10 to 12 hours a day, because it's very intense. But I managed to get it written like normally by the second week. So then I had the third week off.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm a bit of a sweat sometimes.
Wow, okay. All right. Is it too competitive?
Here.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say it is too competitive. I find it hard being around so many medics. Like in general, like I've got my friends are lovely. I love being around them. But then there are times when like you'll be in the library or I'll be in the flat, and it's just like people will be talking about what they've been studying or what grades they got.
Yeah.
And it does feel a bit like intimidating and overwhelming. And sometimes you just need a break from medics. Sorry,
Yeah.
medics, love you guys. But
Well, some of you not really,
Yeah.
but you know, we'll carry on from there.
yeah, exactly. Not everyone. Like placement, love going on placements. I also love my PBL group. I love doing PBL. I know that might be quite controversial. A lot of people hate PBL. I really like PBL. I like doing the questions. I also love placements, and I like doing the small group learning. I think that's really good.
Yeah.
Least favourite, probably anatomy. I really don't like anatomy. I think the teaching could perhaps be improved for anatomy, and we could just do things like dissections would be great, doing more dissection.
Yeah.
Because we do like a few like heart dissections and brain dissections, but I'd love to do full body dissections. That is probably the least favourite part.
How many hours a day do you study?
Oh wow, it really varies. So I would say I'm the sort of person who works little and often. So some people will work for like 8 hours a day here, and you can tell like there'll be people who'll be in the library for hours.
Yeah.
I'd rather do maybe 5 hours a day, I would say. and then have breaks. But it really depends on how I'm feeling. Some days, if I'm really productive, I can sit down and do like 8 hours. And some days I'll literally just be really tired and do 1 or 2. But in general, probably average is about 5.
Okay.
I think it's good. I like how clinical it was from the beginning. Like if you compare it to Imperial or Cambridge, places like that, this book work for the first 3 years. I think making the best doctor is like getting you out in the community straight away. And it was within like the first 2 weeks of being here, I was in the GP, so that was really good. Not a lover of the ICARS, but
No one is.
Yeah, so if you don't know what that is, it's basically just like an anatomy exam that Tudor writes, which is really hard.
Tudor is like one of the lecturers, basically. Okay. Is it too competitive, as everyone else thinks?
There's definitely an element of it. You can feel in the room that everyone's competing with each other.
Yeah.
And the minute your results come on Kaizen, everyone's like, well, what do you get? What do you get? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh. And obviously they put like the lowest score and the highest score. So I think it's definitely competitive, but not in a mean way.
Sure. Okay, moving on. Your favourite and least favourite aspect in medical school?
Favourite is the clinical exposure, and I love clinical skills as well.
Okay.
Least favourite, PDG. I find it quite
Rude.
pointless.
No, just kidding. Well, yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I appreciate the check-ins with the tutors, but like some of the stuff we discuss, I'm just like, what is the point?
Yeah.
What is the reason?
Do you want to give like a background?
Yeah, so PDG is Professional Development Group. So you talk about everything and anything, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it'll be like the values of a medic, which I think, yeah, that's quite good, but like we probably all possess them, otherwise we wouldn't be in med school. So I think it's a bit like, why are we going over this? And then other times I had to do a project, like I had money to spend on a party, like organisation, and like, how is that relevant to medicine?
Well, how many hours a day do you study?
No more than 4.
No more than 4.
But they're 4 intense without my phone, I would say. Friday, Saturday, Sunday's the only day I don't do work. Otherwise I would just get bored on the weekends. Work is just something to do. I do that in the gym. But Sundays I don't work.
So, how many hours a day do you study?
I would say it's very much dependent on the time of year. So if it's more towards the exam kind of period, I would say that around 1 to 2 months before, I would do roughly around 2 hours, I'd say, of revision. That's mainly focused on just trying to go over concepts that I haven't gone over in quite a while, and just doing some past med questions. However, when it runs up to the actual exam, so I want to say a couple of weeks beforehand, I will be doing a lot more revision. I want to say the peak of how many hours I did. One day I did 7, but don't use that as like just like an example. That's it. 5 hours of revision, and it was mainly focused on just doing past med questions and just kind of going over concepts that I might have not gone over since year 1 or something like that. But yeah, those are roughly the amount of hours I do to study.
Quite enjoying it. I feel like it took me a while to settle into like the weekly, like because we do our 3-week blocks,
Yeah.
like the weekly layout of them.
Yeah.
But now I'm quite enjoying it, and I think once you learn how to learn from the stuff that we're doing, it becomes a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like learning how I learned from LSRC and PBL.
Yeah.
Like it's just
Okay.
settled.
Is it too competitive?
Here at Exeter.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I don't live in the
Roncroft,
medics. Yeah, I don't live in Roncroft, so I feel like I don't see so much of that. But then sometimes if I am with medics, it can just feel a bit like...
Too much.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if all you're talking about is like medic stuff, then yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's probably worse if your whole friendship group is medics, which is not the case for me.
Favourite and least favourite aspects in Exeter Medical School? Placement, is it the LSRC? Is it the SSU? Is it the OSCEs?
It's not SNC.
Is this SSU?
Okay, actually, hear me out. I'm going to say OSCEs. but like I find them stressful, and I know a lot of medical schools don't do them until like second year or later. But I think doing them as early as December in the first year, I think that's been helpful for like getting us into the process of doing them.
Yeah.
Because also they're not really hard in first year because they don't expect you to like be able to diagnose a patient with something. They just want to see that you can do it.
Yeah.
So I think getting us exposed to that really early on is helpful because I think they're going to become less stressful
Yeah.
in terms of like we've practiced doing
Or
them.
you'll be used to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of LSRC. I think just like the 4-hour day on a Tuesday,
Yeah.
it's just kind of a lot.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, I'm like, I'm not taking anything in anymore.
And like you kind of have to do it from the like over and over again to kind of understand anyway.
Exactly.
But you know, we love LSRC.
Oh, we love
hate
it.
SSU.
We hate it. Okay, that would be my least favourite. Yeah. Why do I need to know how to write an essay?
Well, you have to. Anyway, how many hours a day do you study?
It depends on the day. Okay.
Yeah. Shouldn't be that hard, Pixie.
Well, like, because on like a Tuesday, I'll do lots of work because I'm
Yeah.
LSRC.
Yeah.
Do you mean like independent study?
Yeah. Don't count the LSRC.
I'm not allowed to count that. Because I'll do like lectures and stuff. Does that count?
Yeah. I mean,
Like when I do online lectures.
Okay, let it count for you.
I'd say like 3.
Okay. That's fine. I'll do 3 to 4.
No,
as
I'd
well.
say like 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Including lectures. Or excluding lectures.
I don't know. No, I'd say like 5.
Okay.
Because I'll come to Cross Keys and do a working day.
Yeah, true.
Let's say 5.
Okay. Okay.